together. We listen to inspirational talks. We pray together, and we're silent together. And that's just a few of the spiritual practices that we do to lift ourselves up and bring us to a higher consciousness. We're going to start tonight with a chant. It's a call and response. And then our practitioner for the evening is Christine Lowe, if you'll raise your hand. And she will open our service up and bring us all together in consciousness. And she also will be available after the service for about 15 minutes if you so choose to have a mini session with her. She is a wonderful practitioner. So we will start with the chant.
And that truth is that there is one mind, one love, one wholeness. And that atmosphere in which we have our life and our being and our experience is in my mind now. It is in my heart. And I know that it is in everyone else's heart and mind that is here tonight. And I also know that this is a wonderful opportunity to share and connect in that divine expression and know that each one of us is part of that rainbow that is spoken of here tonight, and that we all bring something to that connection, something special, something unique, and something that is only from us. And as I know this, I know that this evening and all of the messages that are here unfold perfectly with ease and grace and truth. And as I know this with great gratitude, I release my word into the lot, knowing that it is acted upon, knowing that it is done, and so it is.
So the song says, someone needs a prayer today, a prayer of love. Who might that someone be? First of all, we have to love ourselves. And when we love ourselves and the God within us so much, then we are filled up and we have that love to give. This is a prayer by Louise Hay, and it's about loving ourselves. That's first and foremost. And she says, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. You notice she didn't say not tomorrow when I'm older, thinner, bigger, happier, sadder, more sad. Not sadder, but more sad. Didn't say that. She said, exactly as I am. I support myself, I trust myself, and I accept myself wherever I am. I can be within the love of my own heart. I place my hand over my heart and I feel the love that is there. I know there is plenty of room for me to accept myself right here and right now. I accept my body, my weight, my height, my appearance, my sexuality, and my experiences. I accept all that I have created for myself, my past and my present. I am willing to allow my future to happen, for I am divine. I am a magnificent expression of life, and I deserve the very best. I accept this for myself right now. I accept miracles, I accept healing, I accept wholeness. And most of all, I accept myself. I am precious and I cherish who I am. By Louise Hay. If we could embody those words and know them, not just believe them, because as we've said before, belief is weak next to knowing. When you know that you know that you know that I am that I am, there's no questions. So we know, when we know that this love that we have within us is greater than anything at all, then it is ours to give freely and fully. And it's limitless, absolutely limitless. Every now and again, people send me little things to see if I want to share them with you on Wednesday, the Wednesday service. And this one I thought was very cute. A couple of them just kind of rang a bell with me. These are about children in church or at the center. A little 3-year-old said, "Our Father, who art in heaven, Harold is his name." This one I particularly like. A little boy was overheard praying, "Lord, if you can't make me a better boy, don't worry about it. I'm having a really good time, just like I am." I feel that way sometimes. Oh, do I have to change? Do I have to do something different? After the christening of his baby brother in church, Jason sobbed all the way home in the back seat of the car. His father asked him 3 times, "Jason, what is wrong? What is wrong?" Finally, little boy replied, "Oh, that preacher said he wanted us to be brought up in a Christian home, and I wanted to stay here with you guys." Oops, some work needs to be done in that one. And last, A Sunday school teacher asked her children as they were on their way to the church service, "And why is it necessary for us to be quiet in church?" And one bright little girl replied, "It's because people are sleeping." Not here, though, Dr. Heather. Never, never here. Oh, out of the mouth of babes. Some of the most wonderful, wonderful teachers they are, aren't they? Okay, so now we've set the stage with this wonderful opening affirmative prayer. Thank you so much, Christine. And our beautiful pictures of all these lovely rainbows that are, guess what they were doing? They were connecting with the earth. So tonight's speaker, our very own Mary Brogdon, has been a member of this center for over 30 years. She has probably served on every committee there is or has been, and she continues to serve her community and this center with love and joy. It is my great joy and my great privilege to welcome to the platform Mary Brogdon, speaking on the Rainbow Connection.
I'm going to sing in this one, right, Gina? Okay. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under a spell, and we know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is it the sweet voice that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday I'll find it, the rainbow connection, for lovers, for dreamers, and me. Someday I'll find it, the rainbow connection, for lovers, for dreamers, and me. La 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 la. La 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 la. Okay, now I'm on here, right? Once upon a time, there happened to be a condition in my neighborhood that really annoyed me. Each time I saw it, I told myself a story about it. I said things like, this is wrong. It's an eyesore. It's a blight on our community and a discredit to the owners of the property. I don't know why they let this happen or why they don't try to do something about it. The condition that I'm referring to that had me all riled up was a pile of trash. A pile of trash made up mostly of discarded building materials. Pieces of wood that looked like they were discarded floats and theater sets. And that was mixed in with some porcelain bathroom fixtures. There was a couple of toilets inside wooden stalls. And all around it on the ground was paper that the wind had blown up and it stopped because there was obstruction there. Now, this pile of trash was located in one corner of the parking lot of the high school that adjoined the property where I lived. And I used to take my morning walk through this parking lot. Every time I saw it, I'd get irritated by it. Well, a reasonable person might ask, if it bothered you so much, why not choose a different path for your walk? And that's a good question, but I would answer that I liked walking there because the ground was flat. I wasn't interested in challenging myself with hills or walking on uneven surfaces because that made my back ache. So I continued to be annoyed for a few months. And then I decided, as any good student of science mind, to take the spiritual high ground. I chose to create around it a spiritual practice. I began with the ancient Hawaiian healing process, Ho'oponopono. So when I do my walk in the morning, I would recite this prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It worked for Dr. Hu Lin in the book described by Joe Vitale, Zero Limits. This doctor in Hawaii closed down a mental hospital using that prayer. It didn't seem to be working on my pile of trash. So I realized one day that by putting my attention on it and labeling it, I was contributing to the problem. And I decided to try another spiritual practice. This one was inspired by Dr. Michael Beckwith in his book, Life Visioning. He teaches a process of visioning that we've used here in the center many times. Step one is to ask Spirit, what is the highest and best vision for this situation? Step two, ask Spirit, what must I release in order for this vision to manifest? Well, the vision that I was struck with for this property was that it be restored to order, to its natural beauty and to functionality so that people could use those parking places. And what must I release in order for this to manifest? The answer was, let go of my judgment about it. I'm going to step out on a limb here, and I'm going to venture a guess that I'm not the only person in this room who's ever been in judgment about a situation in your life and knew that if you could release your judgment, it could improve. Well, I came up with a new mantra, and it was, I release my need to judge. I release my need to judge. I'm walking along. I release my need to judge. I release my need to judge. And in as much as it was possible, I tried to avert my eyes so that I didn't look at it and focus on it. So I release my need to judge. Not walking with my eyes closed, but, just trying not to look at it. But one day, after I'd been doing that a few weeks, I couldn't resist the urge to glance over there. And it was gone. Well, interesting thing was that morning there was a light intermittent rain shower. And the temperature was warm. It was just perfect. And I was actually enjoying walking in the rain. The clouds were moving around and the sun was peeking through the clouds every now and then. And at the same time, I rounded that corner of the parking lot and saw that this pile of trash was gone. I looked up and I saw my rainbow. It was the most brilliant colored double rainbow that I've ever seen. And it was a complete arc with both ends of the rainbow touching the horizon. And I imagined that pot of rainbow. And it was just over there beyond my reach. It wasn't out there somewhere. I was walking toward it. And I must have gotten a couple hundred yards. The clouds passed between me and the sun, and the rainbow vanished. But I had it for that moment. And I wondered, what's the message in this for me? According to the Bible, a rainbow is a message from God, a message of God's covenant with mankind. I believe that nothing has any inherent meaning except the meaning we give it. So for me, I declared that the meaning of that rainbow was that I was on my right path, that the spiritual practices I was doing were what I needed to be doing, and that by continuing my spiritual practices, I could effect change in my life. I also believe that this rainbow was connected to the vision that I have for my life of becoming a public speaker, a teacher of spiritual truth, and a life coach. Sometimes on the outside, I don't see a lot of progress taking place in that direction, but I do see inner growth and maturity leading me in that direction. Sometimes, like everybody, I have a lapse in consciousness. I forget for a while who I am and what is my purpose in life. And then I remember, I'm here to love, to serve, and remember. So I do sometimes get down. I get a little depressed and I start beating up myself. But then I receive another message. And that reminds me who I am. One time, when I was in one of those low places, I prayed for another sign. Another rainbow, if you will. That night, I went to choir practice, and the song we rehearsed was Climb Every Mountain. There's a line in that song that says, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. Thank you, God. Prayer answered. Another time when my spirits were low, I was sorting through some old papers, trying to declutter my life, when I came across a greeting card that I had saved from my late husband, Don Vending. I believe it was on our 20th wedding anniversary. The card read, "Loving you is like holding a rainbow in my hand. Each moment feels new, bright with possibilities. Holding you, I believe in magic, in fairy tale fantasies, and dreams that really do come true. It isn't any wonder that from now until forever, somewhere, somehow, I'll still be loving you." The card reminded me that Don was my biggest cheerleader. His dream for me to be a public speaker was even greater than the dream I have for myself. And I can hear him sometimes urging me on, saying, "Get out there on that platform. I believe in you." It's been more than 10 years since I envisioned a coaching business. In 2003, I became certified as a Heal Your Life coach with Louise Hay's material. And after my training, I created a fictitious business name that I call TLC Connection. My TLC stands for Tender Loving Choices. I believe it's the choices we make that create our reality, that we're always at choice, and we can choose again in any moment of time. So I also believe that we can choose tender, loving thoughts about ourselves and others. I also created a business card with a logo that I designed, and it was inspired by Louise Hay. In almost all the literature I've ever read from her, there's hearts galore. And one that particularly spoke to me was a heart inside a heart, inside a heart, inside a heart, or maybe I should say heart surrounded by heart, surrounded by heart, surrounded by. And each layer of heart was a different color of the rainbow. So when I designed the card, I overlapped two hearts to symbolize connection at the heart. And I put a rainbow across both the hearts. Since that time, I delivered one Heal Your Life workshop in our center. It was 4 weekly sessions. And I discovered this workshop business is more work than I thought. I had a plan to do another all-day workshop on Saturday, which never materialized for various reasons. And that was 2004. I was still working full-time plus, and it just never seemed to be enough time to do that business. And over time, I lost my enthusiasm, my energy for doing the Louise Hay work. In 2008, I retired from my nursing job at the beginning of November, and I gave myself the rest of the year off. And I said, I'm going to create a new business in 2009. Those 2 months that I was off, I did a lot of questioning, and I decided I'm going to need some classes to learn how to be an entrepreneur, how to run a business. And so I took a lot of classes, and I learned a lot of things. And I got distracted from my purpose of becoming a teacher, speaker, coach. In 2010, I did start a company, totally unrelated to teaching and coaching, but I thought it would begin to generate income faster and get me started making money again, because I'd been unemployed now for a couple of years. And after 6 months, I had to let it go. I recommitted to becoming a speaker, teacher, coach, and I began to study with Mary Morrissey. I became certified by Mary as a life mastery consultant. And since then, I've been working on mastering my own life and learning what it is to be a life master. And I learned that it's not a destination, it's a journey. So I continue to be kind to myself and remind myself that I'm on a path and things don't always happen as you hope, expect, wish, treat. I have to trust the process. A few months after completing my first training with Mary, I got myself into one of those life situations again. I chose to help care for my first husband. His health was deteriorating and he needed help to varying levels. And I asked myself many times, why would I do this? It's not part of my vision. But the answer was, I had the time, I had the patience, I had the skill set, I had the expertise that my children didn't have, and my participation made it a lot easier on them. Besides that, he and I were friends, and he trusted me. I've since come to believe that I did that to pay a karmic debt. When we were discussing getting married, he asked me every day for a period of time, and I told him both my parents are in poor health, and as the only child, it's my responsibility to take care of them. So this is something you need to consider. He made a promise then to both my parents to take care of them until they died. And he fulfilled his promise. By taking care of him at the end of life, I repaid that debt. There was another promise that I made to him that I wasn't so good in keeping about, taking care of him through sickness and health and until death do us part. But at the end, I was there. Well, that was 2012. What have I been doing since then? I've had a few other distractions, some financial setbacks and some failed attempts to save my home. For a while, I thought that was my obstacle. But now, because I can, I choose again. I have a new life now. I have a beautiful new living place. I live in a beautiful community. I have a wonderful, supportive, like-minded roommate sitting on the front row. And I'm here on this platform tonight. I'm speaking in public. In preparation for tonight, I discovered there's additional support for me. And one of those came in the form of the inspiration that I received last Wednesday night from our speaker, Jennifer Farron, who was a perfect example of the kind of talks I want to give. Combination of story and song. And the next day, Thursday, my friend Lynn Heitland gave a presentation at Shifting Sands. A few days before her presentation, though, she asked me and Pat if we'd give some feedback to her about the photographs and the music she had chosen for her PowerPoint presentation. And as she discussed her ideas with us, it became clear to me that I had a poem that would fit right in with her talk. It would be perfect to read at Shifting Sands. If only I could find it. Because most of my office materials are still in boxes. But I looked for it all last week, and I found it about an hour before Shifting Sands started. The point of that is to tell you that my search paid off in other ways. I found 2 bonus gifts as I was looking for the poem. One of them was a caricature of me standing in front of a podium, delivering a talk. And someone looked at it and said, I don't see you as that aggressive. And I said, you think that's aggressive? I since looked at it, and I think I was doing a happy dance. There's a big smile on my face. I was doing a happy dance. Gina, thank you for showing that. I'm not going to do the rest of that poem because Judy covered Love Yourself already. I had another thing that I found was a poem that I got in some workshop about loving yourself. And the instructions were to put a baby picture at the bottom of the picture. So if you want to skip to the baby picture, I'll show them that. I was between 1 and 2 years old. Got it? No. Okay. Oh, there it is. So this week, I've been looking at my picture as a speaker and reminding myself to love myself. So those are 2 ways that I got support. And now you might be asking, did I get a rainbow connection in the past week? Yes, I did. On Sunday, I went to the celebration of life for Ned Powell. And the family created a slideshow with pictures of his life. During the slideshow, they played Hawaiian music because they loved Hawaii. And some of the songs we heard were It's a Wonderful Life mixed with Over the Rainbow. But the one I particularly liked was a rendition I've never heard before of the Rainbow Connection sung in the Hawaiian language. I'm wondering now if there's anybody here who has a Rainbow Connection story to share. I know there's somebody in the room who does. Because she told me on Sunday. Here she comes.
It was about, oh goodness, I'd say 12, 15 years, somewhere in there. And I was in Aliso Viejo going into Laguna Niguel. And there was this rainbow. It was a double rainbow. I have never seen a double rainbow in my life. And it took me back. And I just was like, it was so magnificent. I just started crying because I thought of all the beauty that we see on the earth that's natural and in cycle, how much we get out of that cycle. And for rainbows, for me, they're just the funnest things to look at. But that double rainbow really put me in a different mindset, and it made me appreciate what we really do have on here on Earth. The beautiful rainbows, the sunsets, even the thunderstorms, they can be beautiful. But the double rainbow for me was a big thing, and it really changed my way of looking at rainbows, and the fact that it's not just a rainbow, it's so more of a connection, like she said. And I connected with that double rainbow, and it was just cleansing, a cleansing cry. And that's all I have to say about that.
Anybody have any other story of connection that you'd like to share? Okay. I'm so happy and grateful to have had this opportunity to be here tonight to talk to you about my rainbow connection. I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for listening and for being part of my life. Thanks be to God for rainbows. Namaste.
Wow, that was wonderful.